everybody, welcome back to Cooking with Cary. Today we're going to do smoked chicken wings, and smoked wings is one of my favorite things. They're super simple. They don't take nearly as long as like a pork butt takes, which would take 10 or 12 hours, or smoking ribs even takes up to 5 or 6 hours. These only take a couple hours on the egg and they taste delicious. We're going to need onion powder, garlic powder, chili powder, cayenne pepper, smoked paprika, ground cumin, black pepper, and then we're also going to use salt and some olive oil. So we got our bowl. We're going to start out with some chili powder. We're going to do about 2 tablespoons of this. Smoked paprika, we're going to do about 2 tablespoons of this. Smoked paprika is different than regular paprika, and regular paprika is different than sweet paprika. Sweet paprika, you've probably seen before. This is what sweet paprika looks like, and then of course there's just regular paprika. Smoked paprika is exactly what it says. It tastes smoked. A little bit of ground cumin, about a teaspoon. We're going to do about a teaspoon of onion powder. And about a teaspoon of garlic powder. You can do about 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. I typically like to use my salt pig, I think is what it's called. And Ofer AL's mom made this one, and it's awesome. Just love the way it sits on the counter, and I'm able to grab a hold of some and put it into whatever I'm doing. It just, it's a nice little tool to have in the kitchen. We also want to use some black pepper, and I like to grind my own pepper up because fresh ground black pepper just tastes delicious. And so I've got my own coffee grinder that is, we strictly use this for spices in our house. We've got our separate coffee grinder, but this one I only use for spices. So I've already put some black pepper in here. And we're just going to pour a little bit in here. About a teaspoon, maybe a little bit more than a teaspoon. Let's do a little bit more. All right, we're going to get our chicken ready. All right, so what we have here is Kroger brand chicken wings. I put them in the refrigerator last night so they thawed, but they weren't completely thawed when I took them out this morning, so I put them on a tray here and let them sit out for a little bit. They were thawed, and then I put them into the fridge. You might also notice that I've got gloves on. Now, I'll be honest, I don't normally handle chicken with gloves. I've just kind of wash my hands often whenever I'm using it. But, you know, these days with quarantine and all that, we've got all these supplies, going to the grocery store wearing gloves. Figure why not? I'm going to wear gloves while I do this because I'm going to be handling them pretty intimately. What we want to do, if we want to pour them out onto that tray that I use to thaw them in the fridge. Incidentally, this is what's called a quarter sheet pan. This big one is called a full sheet pan, and the one that would fit, say, this way is called a half sheet pan. Half sheet pan is typically what most kitchens have in it. Most ovens do not fit a full sheet pan, and a quarter sheet pan is this. They're awesome as platforms to work on because you can get stuff all over and then you just pick it up, take it over the sink, clean it up.
So you'll notice there's a lot of juice in this. I don't know if you can see that, but what we want to do is we want to grab some paper towels and we just want to dry these things off. We don't want a lot of moisture, all right? So I'm going to take each one of these and dry them off. Get as much moisture out as we possibly can.
You probably don't want to watch all this, so we'll speed it up and give you a little music to listen to while I do it.
Sick 'em on a chicken, sick 'em on a chicken, sick 'em on a chicken and watch them feathers fly. Sick 'em on a chicken, sick 'em on a chicken, break out the butter and the flour, we're ready to fry.
All right, we are all dry on the chicken wings. These are all dry. See all this juice, all this chicken gross juice that's left over? We wouldn't want that in our marinade. We're gonna put these into a dry rub, a little bit of olive oil, and we don't want this. We want these to be dry, so that's why we dried them off. I'm gonna keep these gloves on just for a second because we're not done handling the wings. We're gonna take our spice rub, a fork, and we're just gonna mix that rub around so that it's all mixed together. Okay. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're just going to season these things up a little bit.
My dog Pete's the smallest dog of all the dogs in my yard.
That's right.
He's a mean sumbitch, drinks beaming water from a broken mason jar. And we sick 'em on a chicken, sick 'em on a chicken, sick 'em on a chicken and watch them feathers fly. Sick 'em on a chicken, sick 'em on a chicken, break out the butter and the flour, we're ready to fry.
Like so. The Ziploc bag. My God, thank God for the Ziploc bag. Makes for a perfect marinating vessel. Now, we got them in here. We're done touching the chicken, so I'm gonna take these gloves off. Now, let's talk olive oil. We got two kinds of olive oil. We've got regular olive oil and extra virgin olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil has a much lower smoke temperature, meaning that it doesn't take much heat to make the olive oil smoke, and it's also more potent. It's got a lot more flavor, and it costs more than regular olive oil. So don't be afraid when a recipe calls for olive oil, especially something like this, to use regular olive oil, because you'll save money, and sometimes you don't need that extra olive oil flavor. This you definitely don't. This we're just looking for some fat to help these things marinate. We probably want to put about, I don't know, 4 or 5 tablespoons in there. And boom, there you have it. We got about 30 chicken wings in here, and we are gonna put these in the fridge and let them sit for about 2.5 hours. And then we're gonna put them on the egg.
Hey everybody, we're back in my backyard. We're about to use the egg to smoke some chicken wings. It's gonna take about 2 to 2.5 hours. We've got the grill going at about 225 degrees. That's what we wanna be at. This is not a trash can, just so you know. It's where I keep the charcoal, and what I found is that it makes for a really good platform. The other thing is that it keeps it airtight, and I can keep it in there out in the rain or whatever, and the coals are always going to be ready to go. Here we go. We're going to place the bone side out, and we're going to go in a circle around because we've got 30 wings, remember? Now, the hottest part of the egg is always around the perimeter. So you'll find is that if you stick them too far out on the outside, on the outer ring here, those are going to get pretty charred. So even when knowing that, we're going to put the bone of the drumstick on the outside so that the meaty part is facing in. I'm going to place these here. Probably speed this up and play a little bit of music for you while I do this. All right, pause music. One thing I forgot to mention also is that you want to keep these not touching. If they touch, then the smoke doesn't get into the meat, and you'll notice a significant difference. So try to have just a little bit of gap in between each one of these. Cue music. So we're good to go. Here we go. We've got about 31 wings right here. We're gonna leave this on for about 2 hours. I'm gonna check it in 2 hours. Our thermometer is gonna be at 225 here in just a second. I've had the lid up, so it wasn't able to calculate what the temperature is, obviously, on the thermometer. So now that I've shut this, just another thing about the egg, and we'll do a whole show on the egg, but this dial up here has a lot to do with the temperature, as well as this dial right down here. So you control and calibrate these two dials to get the exact temperature that you want here. And that's the best part about the egg, is that once you've gotten it to the temperature that you want and it's stable, it will stay there for hours and hours and hours. You can cook for 24 hours if you had enough coals in here, and it would maintain the exact same temperature the whole time. We'll see you in a little bit. So it's been 2 hours. I'm about to open this up. I haven't opened it once since we shut it last, and hopefully they're gonna be delicious. It's kind of always a big surprise as to what it's gonna look like when you open it, and that's the best part. When you open an egg, the heat has been restricted, so there hasn't been any oxygen. That you've restricted the oxygen with those two dials that I told you about. When you open it, the oxygen will rush in, and a lot of times the flames will flare up, so you burp it. You go like this. There they are. They look delicious, right? I almost wonder if they couldn't go a little bit longer. I almost feel like we should flip them and let them go another 30 minutes. I think that's what we're gonna do, actually. Oh yeah, I think we're gonna flip them and let them go another 30 minutes. See how when I flip them over, how beautiful they look on the bottom side? Nice and crispy. Got tons of color. We are definitely going to let these cook another 30 minutes. So, at 225, we're going to let them go for 2.5 hours. We'll check back in a little bit. Action?
Action!
All right, so it's been like 15, 20 minutes. I've started to get a little concerned, and we're kind of getting hungry. So, they do look gorgeous. And now that we've put them on the backside, flipped them over, they've got that color that I was looking for. So we're going to take these off. We're going to bring them in. You know, you may think about saucing these with traditionally buffalo wing sauce, or Josh likes teriyaki. It's all good. You can do all that. But the flavor of what we've done here, the rub, the smoke, it's good enough. I promise. The flavor is going to be outstanding. But feel free to sauce them up however you like. Traditionally, smoked wings go really well with Alabama white barbecue sauce. So if you want to look up a recipe for that and mix that up. But otherwise, I promise you, you can't go wrong with what we've done here. We're going to go inside, eat these up, and send you a money shot.
The money shot! Sick 'em on the chicken. I can smell the kitchen and it's almost supper time.
Very good.